My name is Pastor Hal York, and welcome to Truth in the Trenches. Today we're going to Proverbs chapter 10, verse 12. Hatred stirs up strife, but love covers a multitude of transgressions. Or covers all transgressions, according to the New American Standard. We have looked at this verse probably more than once over the last 3 years or so, at least the principle found in this verse. It's easy to read it and miss what it's saying. One way to read it would be to say you're going to experience strife with the people you hate, and you're going to cover transgressions with people you love. But if you notice and read the verse carefully, you'll notice that the verse does not mention who the recipients of the hate or the love are. They're not even mentioned. It doesn't mention them at all. This verse is not about everybody else around me. It's about me. It's about you. It's not about your spouse. It's not about your friends. It's not about your neighbors. It's not about those family members, even your enemies. It's not about them either. It's about me. What is controlling my life, my attitude? What am I filled with? And then it shows us the corresponding results to these attitudes. Hate-filled people tend to stir up strife. When problems happen in their marriage, in their church or family or relationships, those problems are usually handled and responded to in such a way that they stir up strife. Hate-filled people tend to make mountains out of molehills. Well, how could that happen? Well, what could cause problems or an offense of some kind to escalate into strife? Well, gossip. Instead of just talking to the person like a loving person would do, maybe somebody's offended you, so you talk to them. You sit down and want to talk to them about it. Or you choose to tell others your problem as well. You tell them what they did, and so now people are taking sides. Or you can slander the person to try to destroy their character, their reputation. Or you can just refuse to deal with it altogether. In marriage, this seldom leads to peace. It may be a false sense of peace for a while, but eventually it erupts into strife. And there's lots of other things we could talk about, but those are three big ones. But the result is the same, strife. That's what hatred does. And the ironic thing is you may not hate your wife or your husband, but if hatred is what controls your heart, you're going to respond to problems in an unwise way, dictated not by wisdom, but by the hatred that's lodged in there. If you have a bad day at work, for example, maybe with a colleague or a boss, or you didn't get that promotion, somebody else got it instead, and you resent that, and this hatred is building up in your heart. You have a hate on for somebody, if you will. When you get home from work, your spouse and your children may not be the source of the hatred, but they will become the targets of that hatred and feel the repercussions of that hatred as you walk through the house that evening. And the consequences, strife. Hatred usually lies at the foot of pride, and proud people are not quick to back down or let things go. So before you know it, that peaceful house you came home to has become a house filled with strife. Hatred in our hearts is like a grenade. We may have specific people or targets in mind, and they may be in that room. But when you throw a grenade, it hurts everybody in the room. You don't aim grenades, you just throw them. And that's what hatred is like. You may not even hate the people who are destroyed by the hatred in your heart, but they're going to be destroyed by it nonetheless, because hate-filled people breed strife. And that strife is not only felt by the people who the hate is aimed at, it can affect everybody in our circle of friends and our family, because our heart is filled with hate. And everywhere we go, our hate-filled heart goes with us. And that's a very dangerous thing. But love, one filled with the Spirit of God, the first fruit of that Spirit-filled life is love. That doesn't mean we love because we're surrounded by lovable people. But it's love that controls my heart no matter who I'm surrounded by. Again, love covers. This is how it deals with offenses. It doesn't stick its head in the sand. It doesn't mean you should never, as a couple, talk about issues that come up, or friends should never talk about issues that have come up, maybe between them. There are many that choose to love and let things go. And love covers a multitude of things in our relationships and our marriages. We don't make an issue out of everything, but there are some things sometimes that need to be addressed and discussed. And again, the one's filled with love instead of gossip and slander and refusing to talk about it, determined to keep the people in between the people involved, to guard and protect the character of the people involved and the reputation of those involved. It's kind, it's thoughtful, it doesn't lash out or seek to embarrass. Its goal is to seek peace and to bring peace. If it's something that needs to be dealt with, it seeks to deal with the problem or offense with the least amount of hurt and pain. It seeks to show love because that is the fruit of a spirit-filled life. Therefore, it's what is going to dictate the response of to the problem or the offense. Love or hate, whatever is controlling my heart is going to dictate how I respond to the problems in my life. Do you have a hard time keeping friends? Are you struggling in your marriage? How about in your relationships at church? Again, this verse is about me, about you, but it's not about everybody else. It's about me personally. It's about you personally. And I think as we've gone through all these things that have happened to us in the last 3 years, there was a lot of hate conjured up. And there was a lot of hate-filled people, hate-filled hearts. The hate sort of got a grip on their life. And I think a lot of marriages suffered because of that. So it's reminding us that whatever controls our heart impacts every area of our life. Just because you may have had a hate on for COVID and all the things that were involved in that and the theories and everything else, and you may have despised that and hated that, but that hate did not remain aimed just at that. That hate affected every area of your life, of my life, if I don't deal with it properly. Whatever controls our heart impacts every area of our life. How do I deal with offenses and problems? Is it evidence of love that's in my heart or a hatred? Does the way I deal with problems and sins that have been done, maybe committed against me, does it bring peace or does it always lead to strife? What kind of wake do I leave in my path as I walk through the day? Is it strife or peace? What tends to surround me in my life? Is it strife or peace? Is it expose or cover? Is it avoidance or resolution? What controls my heart controls my attitude. When I'm offended or hurt, what's my response characterized by? Is it grace or a grenade? Do I seek and destroy, and it doesn't matter who it hurts? Or do I seek by in grace target my love towards the one who needs to be spoken to or with whom I need to seek reconciliation? Is it love or hate? Hatred stirs up strife, but love covers a multitude of sins done against it. What kind of wake do I leave in my path? What's going on in my life, in my relationships? Maybe this is a verse that we need to think about and to really pray about and ask God, what really is going on in my heart? What's controlling me? Why is there so much strife around me and in my life all of the time? Maybe way deep down there's a hatred that's lodged there. And it may not be hatred of the people that you're hurting, but hatred doesn't make those distinctions. It controls your heart, and everybody around us feels the consequence of that. And the same is true with love. So may this truth guide us and guard us in the trenches of life as we seek to live our lives for the glory of God and the good of others. May God bless.